Welcome back to the YouTube channel today, where we have a special announcement for any of you coaches or more in-tuned lifters out there who potentially want to learn more about biomechanics, anatomy, movement, and all of that sort of stuff, all of the movement-based content that we do cover on this YouTube channel. We actually have a short course coming out. It's under the banner of Strength Coach Development, which is sort of a branch off Melbourne Strength Culture. I take majority of it, and we've got Jamie Buziotis joining us for this course as well. It's called Understanding Movement, and it's a 4-week short course covering the foundational principles of biomechanics and anatomy that a coach needs to really understand how to progress their clients and consistently challenge them with movement-based interventions and really just training and exercise selection. So in week 1, we're going to be covering your typical anatomical sort of principles that will underpin biomechanics and human movement in general. We're going to be looking at the gait cycle and what it might be able to tell us from a movement perspective with clients and also exercise selection. We're also going to be looking at just the typical verbiage to actually describe movement from a human movement potential. So if you're somebody who struggles to communicate with movement and biomechanics, this first week will probably be pretty challenging for you and maybe a little bit dry. However, it really does underpin weeks 2, 3, and 4 of the course. Week 2, we're going to be looking at bones and breathing. And if you followed us for any number of months or years here at Melbourne Strength Culture, you know that we like to look at the bones first. The bones are the foundation for everything else from a movement perspective. It's where the muscles attach, and then the muscles are obviously innervated from the central nervous system. So until we understand the bones and the relative position of the bones, we're never really going to be able to understand how movement is either limited or the expression of skill and movement at a high quality for some individuals. So bones and breathing. Then we'll also be looking at breathing mechanics, obviously, when we unpack the axial skeleton, so the rib cage, the pelvis, the spine. We're mainly talking about the breathing mechanics and the compression and expansion strategies that are occurring through that ventral cavity. So we're going to be unpacking that and what it might mean for movement limitations potentially being expressed at the shoulders and the hips. In week 3, we're going to the muscles and motor control. So motor control, sometimes it can get a little bit washed in or caught up in the wash with the stability, mobility continuum that some coaches like to discuss. We're not really going to go down that route. We're talking about motor control from really a constraint-based principles progression. So we're going to be looking at how we can actually change both the task and the environment in which we're executing skill and actually challenge the individual progressively. And if we can build out a progressive stream for challenging motor control long term, we can probably continue to provide an environment that actually provides progression for our clients or yourself as an individual. When we discuss muscles, we really need to start to unpack this idea of eccentric and concentric orientation of muscles. It's another fancy way of saying short and long muscles. However, with the foundational understanding from the bones and the breathing from week 2, in week 3, we're going to understand how we can actually change these relative positions quite quickly and get increases in range of motion potential to then obviously improve our ability to express the skill or the task at hand. In week 4, we come into the programming aspect of understanding movement, and this is where we take all of the principles that we've unpacked in week 1, 2, and 3 and learn how to build out a more successful program from an exercise selection standpoint, and then more importantly, an exercise execution standpoint. So how we're actually executing the movements is going to greatly influence the outcomes that we get from our training programs. So we're going to take you through some key things to look out for so that we can ensure we're getting great execution across the board in all of the movements of a program. So it's a 4-week short course, Understanding Movement. It's the only link in the bio. And for you guys here at YouTube, we're going to offer you a 10% discount code. The discount code is going to be YouTube10. So if you do want to use that, use it at the checkout, get 10% off. We love our YouTube community. It's growing and we can't wait to see what else we can do together. So it is a little thank you that if you are interested in the Understanding Movement course, please check it out. Again, the code is YouTube10 and it's the only link down below.